making his life a part of the fishing industry, as I have. And I think together, it really has been a massive part of who we are. And if we were to lose that, well, we'd be in the dog queue, mate. So I have nothing else to do. I don't know how to do anything else. So if anyone's got any gardening, but we're going to let that happen. Here we go. It's all yours, mate. Take it away.
As you're scaring me. If we lose fishing, I'm seriously screwed, because that's all I know. I might not be good at it, but it's all I know, and let me tell you, don't want me doing your gardening or mowing your lawn. Rex and Adam have brought up some very, very good points. Fishing is a family thing. It's what we do in Australia. We have the greatest country in the world. We have a free country, and that's why we're here. We've got fishing that people could only dream of. And while for a lot of us there's a million places we'll still be able to go fishing if they bring in some of these ridiculous marine parks, it's the average mum and dad that are going to suffer. Because not everyone knows all these rules. And I've seen it. I've seen marine parks in New South Wales, which I can clearly, because I know about it, go, oh, there's the marine park, I'll stay out of that. And in Christmas holidays, mum and dad have gone out in the hire boat with their 2 young kids, gone into the marine park and copped themselves a couple of $100 fines. Because they didn't even know what a marine park was. They didn't know it was there. And I couldn't tell you why it's there myself. Absolutely ridiculous. A lot of these are that way. Sure, we need some marine parks. I don't ever deny we don't need to look after our fishery. We just asking for some consultation among all of us as anglers. We're the ones who use the waterways. We're the ones who tend to do the most looking after of the waterways. We're the ones who want to continue this for the rest of our lives. I want my girls to be able to walk down here and go fishing if they want, or go for a swim and not get in trouble. The other problem we find, guys, is no scientific research in a lot of these marine parks. And the other thing we find, that when they lock up our areas, they just go to anglers, find out our best spots, lock them up, and then allow other things like commercial fishing to be done right around the borders of the marine parks, which has a huge detriment on those confined areas. We're here today to show our strength, and I think we're at a very exciting time. And as much as we don't want to be doing this on a Sunday, it is an exciting time, guys. We've had some big battles in the last 4 years. And we've shown that as anglers and as general public what we can do. Last year we created the impossible. We stopped the super trawler. This is as big, if not a bigger issue. And this is not going to go away. It's not just us, it's every state. Once they get these things happening, guys, it's a snowball effect. And just by people turning up today and showing what you do, you don't have to say anything, but just by being here, we've shown that we are not to be messed with. This is going to continue for the rest of our lives. There will be battles that come and go year to year. Dale and I were just speaking before, and we said we can deal with one of these a year. As long as we don't get more than one a year, we're sort of okay. We've had 4 in 4 years. I thought it was 2, but Dale was quick to point out that it wasn't. Some of the battles weren't quite as big. Some of the ones like this are huge, and I don't think a lot of people realise the scale of what we're battling here. So we just need everyone to come together. Forget if you don't like that party or that person, just stand united and we'll win. Thank you.
Great words, really, really good words. I was after Greg Hunt if he's available. Is he in the crowd as yet? I believe he is. Yes, he is. Here he is. Good stuff. Thank you, mate. I'll just give you a hand aboard here. Are you good? Wonderful. Mate, the crowd and the microphone is all yours.
Okay, thanks very much to Adam, to Lee, to Rex. Now, Rex has just told me he's had the DNA done. I am a Hunt, he's a Hunt, and I had thought he was uncle, but he tells me he's dad. So, I'm not sure what to make of that, but anyway, Rex is Rex. Look, I'll be very brief. And I've got a really simple point. Fishing is, as you all know, it's a family sport. My brother has a little sport fishing business himself. He runs it out of Melbourne. It keeps our family going to a certain extent, so it's a small operation, but that's what our family does. To yourselves, I've got 2 simple messages. There's a right place to protect things, to make sure that we get the proper breeding, but the wrong thing to do is draw big lines on maps which have no connection to science, which haven't been consulted, and our approach is very simple. We are going to move in the next 2 weeks of Parliament to knock out these big boundaries that have been put around the country. We will do our best to win that, and if we don't win that, if we do get into government, we're going to have a review of all of the marine parks that have been put down recently, and we'll do it based on two things: consultation, actually sitting down with the people who take care of the environment, which is yourselves. It's the folks that go out on the water, that care what they do, that are actually taking care of the environment. I'm talking about it, and we'll do it based on science. And it's very simple. It's not rocket science, it's just plain science. What are the numbers? What do we need to do? And talk to the people who know. If you haven't been talked to, it's locked out, and right around the country there are people like yourself. So you don't need long speeches, you don't need big words. We'll move in the next 2 weeks to try to disallow these big boundaries that have been put down. We're not against marine parks in the right place, but what we've got are massive boxes that have been drawn on maps to keep as many people out for as long as possible to appease certain groups in certain parts of the inner city. So that's it from us. We'll take practical action in the next 2 weeks, and if we get into government, we'll take more practical action to review them all, to meet with you guys, and to do it based on science. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Greg Hunt, sorry. Take a question.
One question is based around the science part, and it's going to be the same sort of science that you use for climate change. And are you aware that there are a number of groups, like local groups here, Baines Impact, that lobbied really hard for the Marine National Park at Point Addis, and we continue to do work there and continue to do community science on that. And in relation to just the Port Phillip Bay area, for instance, there's huge growth all around the perimeter of Port Phillip Bay. Geelong, for instance, is going to move from 225,000 people to 500,000 people in the next 10 or 15 years, which is going to, even if it's just 1% of those people extra that decide to go fishing, that's an enormous extra pressure on that bay's resource, and extraordinarily, the bay is not growing at 2% per annum. So that just means that there's going to be less fish for everyone else in the future. The same flathead, for instance, has declined by 97%.
That was not so much of a question as it was just a general broadcast.
Look, let me give you a very simple response. I grew up on the bay. I lived around the bay for most of my life. The bay now is healthier than it was 10 and 20 and 30 years ago. It's in pretty good shape, and we need to be honest about that. So these are the people that campaign to get the bay right. And you need to look around and say, these aren't the enemies of the environment. These are the ones that we need to take practical steps. They've taken practical steps. I think they deserve respect, and I tell you what, guys, you've got my respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Hunt, Shadow Minister for the Environment. And if I could have now, please, Senator Richard Colbeck, Coalition Spokesman on Fisheries. Now, here's a man who not only has to hang out in the big house, but also loves to catch a fish. A man truly after all of our own hearts. This is the bloke you want to be looking for. This is the guy who's going to need your vote.
Thanks very much, and thanks for coming out today. The weather does what the weather does, doesn't it? As Greg said, next week we'll be moving in the House of Representatives a disallowance motion on the management plans for marine protected areas that have been proclaimed around the country. And what we need now is your help and your voice. it is now really important. If we are going to be able to sensibly modify the proposals that have been put forward by Tony Burke, we need your assistance. We need you to tell every member of Parliament in the Federal Parliament, every single one of them needs to get the message that they should support the disallowance motion. Your local member here, the independents, very importantly, need to understand that the weight of numbers is with the recreational fishing community. You need to let them know. Use the platforms that have been put in place by your fishing representatives, by the groups that are supporting you in this quest, and that will make it so much easier for us to do what Greg's just talked about. To put in place sensible marine parks that are based on science and that are based on genuine consultation, not based on division and putting people into silos and playing them off against each other, which is what's occurred in this circumstance. That is what we need. So your voice is really important, not just by turning up today, but by letting your representatives know across the country, particularly the independents, that they need to support our disallowance motions when they come into the Parliament. Because that's what's going to make it so much easier for us to put into place a sensible solution. A sensible solution for the environment and a sensible solution for commercial and recreational fishing industries. It is really quite important that that occurs. Not this, Rex was quite right when he talked about that warm and fuzzy feeling about locking a few areas up and how effective it might or might not be. He was right on the money when he talked about that. We have so many better tools these days than just blocking places away so people can't go there. You know that, and I know that. It's really important that we get that message across. So if I can ask you to give us your help in the next few weeks to make sure that your elected representatives know well and truly that the message is that they should support the disallowance motions that we will put into place in the Parliament in the next week or so. And then we can start doing the work that really needs to be done. Looking after our local environment, looking after our coastal estuaries, so that we can make sure that there is strong recruitment, so that there are plenty of fish around, and we can start cleaning up the areas that need cleaning up. So thanks very much for turning out this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator Richard Colbeck. Can I please have Sarah Henderson up? Sarah's a candidate for Corangamite, and the lovely lady she is that has helped put this all together, as I said in the opener. I'm sure you've got plenty to say. The rain looks like it's going to part beautifully for you. There's a rainbow. Doesn't get any better than that. A rainbow over there. So, and I'm pretty sure the other end is shining right upon this boat. So knock yourself right out.
Adam, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can I acknowledge Adam and Lee, Rex Hunt, my old friend from 3AW days, and particularly want to acknowledge Greg Hunt and Senator Richard Colbeck. You've heard today, ladies and gentlemen, the Coalition is listening. They are listening to you. They are listening to 5 million wreck fishers around this country. And I'm very proud to be part of the Coalition team which will stand up for you, which will stand up for your families and for your kids. I'm proud to see my son Jeremy, who loves fishing. We live near the Bowen River, across the road from Rajetti, and it's one of the favourite things that we can do as a family. So can I commend Greg Hunt and Richard Colbeck and Senator Michael Ronaldson, who's also here today, for listening to wreck fishers, for listening to families and taking some action. And I can only reiterate what Richard and Greg have said today, and Rex. Use your people power, because 3 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, we stood here and we fought the ban by the Gillard government against mako shark fishing. It was a ridiculous ban, not founded on science, driven by pure ideology, driven by politics. And through people power, through your voice, for standing up, we fought that ban and we won. And ladies and gentlemen, we can take this on again and we can win again. So we are united, we are with you, we are standing up for you, and I'm very proud as your local candidate, hopefully as your federal member, after September 14, to continue to fight for you and to stand up for you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
We have a local fishing identity, Dale McClelland. Did I get that surname correct? Yes, it was scribbled on my page, but there it is. And do you have a young fella with you at the moment? No, couldn't make it. Never mind. I'm pretty sure you've got some pretty important words being local. So there's your microphone.
G'day guys, those of you who've been to the last 4 or 5 rallies that we've organised all know who I am, all know what I stand for. I like you, I'm just a recreation. Thank you. I'm a recreational fisherman. I get jacked of being pushed, I get jacked of being told where I can fish, how I can fish, and when I can fish. Especially when there's absolutely no science to it. Marine parks. I have not caught a fish that can read where a friggin' boundary is on a map yet. They don't exist. Fish like that don't exist. They might go to schools, but they can't read maps. And we get told where and why and how we can't fish. I remember standing here 4 years ago with Richard Colbeck and Greg Hunt when we were told we weren't allowed to fish for makos, and I said then, I'm from Frankston, so if somebody pushes me, I'm going to push you back. If somebody wants to push all of us, we've all got to push back. Every single one of us. I can't help the rain, so I won't keep you too long. Just one other little thing about recreational fishermen sticking together. A young guy heavily involved in recreational fishing by the name of Matt Stewart. His daughter's actually crook with a bit of a problem on the back of her scone. She's a lovely young girl, and it's a family that's really, really keen recreational fishing. Recreational fishermen at the moment are running a little bit of an effort to raise some money for them to help with their operation that's being done at the Royal Children's Hospital. So there'll be a little box out the front. If you just want to throw some coins in, we're going to make sure that gets passed through to the family. It's about a little bit about giving back. Now just moving on, just in case what was said before hasn't sunk in, there's a way to stop marine parks, and it's not just marine parks that they're aiming for. National parks. That means national parks on the land that we won't be allowed to fish in. That's how important this is getting. The land-based guys, Adam and the boys, they're going to stop us from fishing in land-based marine parks. They're going to stop us from fishing in national parks. Jarvis Bay, the high country, if we don't stand and make a bloody stand now. Where's the little girl here with a sign? Just here. Look at that little boy holding the sign, little girl. They love fishing. That's what it's about. Getting behind the future of fishing, these kids. That's what it's about. Right? I can look at 3/4 of the people here, I can look in the eye because I've fished with or been to rallies with and so forth. And the new faces, that's what it's about. Getting more and more people involved. $10 billion a year Australians spend on recreational fishing. And there's a few wives here who'll be asking you when you get home how much you actually spend. Sorry, it's the truth. $10 billion a year, $2.3 billion a year we spend in Victoria alone on recreational fishing, and we've got a ramp here that we can't put cars and boats down because